There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever intertwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers or people said to be able to speak to the dead. We all have our own belief systems. We all have our own truths. So let us possibly bend those truths a bit with some insights and perspectives that may be a bit different than yours, or even give yourself validation for what you see as true. Come sit with myself and the best of the best in research, teaching, discovery, and practitioners of the day. My name is Bear Medicine Walker, and I welcome you to Spiritually Paranormal. Woo! Okay.
Hey everybody, happy hump day.
Well, that's right, hump day, right? Yeah, I forgot about that. So welcome to everybody. I see there's a few different people here today. I see verified polling and Cookie Monster and
Chloe, Margaret.
Yep, Cindy.
I don't see Ruth. Where's Ruth?
I don't know. I sent her a note. Hi, Chloe. And of course, the birds are going to scream now. They've been quiet all morning. You guys all need to quit. Yeah, you too. They can get in and out of the cage, so hopefully it'll keep them quiet. So, what are we talking about today?
Smudging, how to smudge yourself, your home, your whatever you want to smudge, and prayer ties, and what was the other thing you said?
Objects and furniture.
Oh, yeah, the energy that those things, objects hold. So, yeah, like, a pen can hold residual energy. Say this is my favorite pen, and I used it to do my journaling with. All my emotions, all my feelings, all the stuff I wrote about that energy will be in this pen until I cleanse it and smudge it.
I never thought about that with a pen. I guess so. That would be like very much so, I guess, like all my stuff. Well, the other thing too, this is one of the reasons that I don't like to work if I'm ill or I'm not feeling good, is because I know that energy goes into stuff. And like when I do my pottery, mostly I won't touch it because I don't want that, I call it ook, flowing into that work. And I know you do paintings as well. It's just, one of those things. So I guess, that makes sense.
So it's a good reminder to be careful. Some people like to collect pens. They like to pick up pens from other places. You know what I mean? Be careful what you're picking up and taking home. I don't care if you get the pen, but cleanse it, because you don't know what the intention was of the person that used it last, what they wrote.
I've never considered. That's very, on site, on point, and I just never really thought about it, but you're right.
Yeah.
I just, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You really got to think about these kind of things.
I'm going to be all collecting all my pens, and I still haven't found my pan. So
smudge all the pens. There you go.
Yeah. Then I got up this morning and it was weird too. And for all you who don't know what the heck we're talking about, I told Holly the other day, I think it was over the weekend, I lost sauté.
I told you how to fix it. I told you how to get your pan back.
But it was like on the stove with the others, because I don't put them under the cupboard anymore because I can't bend always. It hurts to do that. So I have them stacked on the stove, and I had actually made broth in it, and I washed it and cleaned it and put it back on the stove. The next day I went to grab it because I was going to make some marinara sauce, and I'm like, where's my pan? So I got hold of her after I looked for it for 3 days, tearing my house apart. And I said, it's either the wolf took it. And she goes, oh, no, it's probably the people. And I'm like, I'm not saying that out loud. And she goes, yeah, the people. And I'm like, yeah, no. She says, you need to sing for him. I said, no, I'm not singing for him. And then I took the drum out and I just walked in the rooms, just kind of a little bit, but I still didn't get it back because I don't
Because
think,
you haven't sang to the fairies.
yeah,
You
because I
got to
didn't
go
think,
outside, go to the water, and sing to the fairies. You will get your pan back.
I don't know, but I'm like, did I throw it out? I mean, I really don't understand where it went. But yeah,
I
that
hate
makes
when
sense.
things like that happen. You're like, I just had it. Where the heck is it now? Where did it go?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's not like my glasses when I leave them on the top of my head and I'm looking for them. That's totally different. That's
Right,
how I'm
right,
getting
right.
old. But yeah, I really never thought about that. Like pens things that we pick up from other places. And I guess that would make sense too, because when we get crystals or rocks or gems, whatever we have, we always tell people to cleanse them and then you charge them. So that kind of
Yep,
makes sense. Thank you. I never really thought
yep,
about
yep. Pens are just, it's just a big thing people collect. Another thing people collect are tumblers, a lot of times you're buying those brand new, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you're going yard sales or thrifting or whatever, you don't know where that came from. So let's just say the whole year you don't cleanse your home.
Oh,
Everything you've been through that whole year, your
oh,
ups, your downs, your all arounds, all of that energy is in those four walls. They are in that home. And unless you cleanse it out, because over time it can just become too much. You feel
yeah,
like you need to open the windows, you need to do more
yeah.
than that. You need to clear the space on a regular basis, at least once a quarter.
I try to do it a couple times a month,
Yeah.
depending on how I feel. And a lot of times, when I finally kind of got through some stuff and was thinking about it, even when we're sick or we have a health issue going on, and then we get to a point where we're feeling better, you really do need to cleanse it out because all that stress and pain is in the house. That energy is there. And this is what somebody was talking about because they had like it's like a dresser. I made it a dry bar at my house. I had one like it. It's an antique cabinet. It has a drawer across with some doors on it. And when I got it, the one that I got, it was from a farmer who lived on this big, like acres, and sold his place to a doctor. And no, it was like early 1900s. So that's when doctors were working out of their homes. And it had a key and it had like a door on it that would come down, but you could feel it vibrate. Good
Yeah.
vibration, but you could
Yeah.
feel it vibrate. That's
Yeah.
why I won't go to places like Greenfield Village in Michigan where it's all antiques. It's like they bring them in from everywhere.
Yeah.
Like uh, Thomas Edison has stuff that, like where he invented his shack that he invented, and you go through that, it's so much energy. It's overwhelming. So I don't like to go there any more than I like to go down to Tennessee, like go through Gatlinburg or any of the places where there were Civil War battles.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's
The
a lot of residual energy over that. Now,
well, what would you
when we
recommend?
went down to the battlefield, what was it, last month or month before? I don't remember now. Can't remember. But when we went down there, we did some research and we were watching some videos about the battlefield. And all of those soldiers, they did it two or three times of removing the remains from that battlefield. I guess that's why the Chickamauga battlefield, it doesn't feel, it's never felt as heavy to me. Now there's some stuff there. I am not joking, but it doesn't feel as heavy as some of the other places I've been to. And it's because they have, way back in the day, they had committees and they did it two or three. I know two times, and for some reason my mind says it might have been even three, where they did a whole thing of making sure they got as many of the
Yeah.
remains as possible to bury them properly in the proper cemetery.
Well, I know the last time, and it's been years since I've
Hey,
been down
Carol.
there, years and years, but I actually went, and I don't even remember. I think it was that battlefield. and we went in and we were sitting, and it was later in the afternoon, like just before like 6 o'clock ish. And you could literally hear cannons and guns and screams. And we all just kind of looked at each other and was like,
Nope.
wow, like, you
Yeah.
hear that? And it's like, yeah, I heard it, but you guys heard it? And they're like, yeah. And they don't even do what I do. So it's
Right.
like, oh yeah, we just kind of, it was kind of creepy actually. But for me, it was also very sad. It's
Mhm.
almost like they're stuck in this loop and they're replaying and replaying and
Right.
replaying it.
Right.
And for me, that makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Because I feel that they all haven't moved on or
Yeah.
moved away. I think part of it's residual. Obviously, the cannons don't have souls, the guns don't have souls, but I feel like it's just a loop continuously over and over.
Right.
And,
Right.
and any war is like that. I would imagine that's anywhere, like with any of the wars that have been in the world, Japan or Germany or Europe. I would imagine it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. I
And
think so.
the streets and the ground, that's one thing. I was contemplating, like when I first met Sean and Bex and I was thinking about it, I says, do you realize that the UK and the European countries have had so much blood spilled on the land that I can't even imagine there would be a place that would be calm.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah.
And and people will say, well, okay, what do we do for furniture? What do we do for old houses, historical houses? How do we cleanse them from the energy that might not be great?
Just giving them a good cleaning is one thing you can do. Just make sure you clean. Like, don't just clean the visible surfaces. Pull those drawers out. Cleanse the inside of whatever it is, and underneath and all that. Because a lot of people don't think to clean those parts, because it's not just on the surface of whatever it is that you've got. It's all inside it and underneath it and everything. And if you can't use smudge smoke, then sprays are just as good.
Yeah, I would think that. I've actually done a couple pieces where I've used, like, boiled it to make it like a spray, and I've actually sprayed it under. I have this and it's kind of like a coffee table end table. It's really old. It's from 1920, and it goes back. So I guess it is. It's 103 years old now. It has leather inlaid on the top and really scrolled carved border out of wood, and it's walnut. And I flipped it over and I sprayed all of the underneath and cleaned it. And that was like one of the first things I did. But I still do it, I want to say, at least twice a year, because I have company.
Yeah.
And company sets stuff on whatever, right? So I want to cleanse that. So,
and that's another good point of when you've had somebody come into your house with negative energy, drama, or whatever it may be, of cleansing your home again after they leave, getting rid of their negative energy, their bad juju.
Yeah, bad juju. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a good way to put it. I mean, sometimes they come in and they might be very depressed because they've got something going on. And but you can also, if you're aware of it, you can usually feel a shift in the energy in the house.
Yeah.
Like when I had all the cats, when I had all 4 of them were still alive, if one got out on me and I didn't realize when I opened the door it had gotten out, and I walk into the house, it wasn't even a matter of seeing them, because
you can sense their presence is gone. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah. What the heck? So you can
something's
feel it.
missing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can feel it. And then you start doing head counts. And it's like, oh, wow. How did she do that? So you guys got to.
But you didn't know when the fairies came and took your pan.
No, I did not. And I actually, honest God, I'm going to ask this, and you people that are listening, answer too if this has ever happened to you, because this has been happening to me ever since the boogie guys came in that night, the angels or whatever they were. I actually went to bed at 10:30 last night because I was actually tired. I was busy all day. I went to bed, and 1:30 seems to be the witching hour for me here in Michigan, whatever that means. And I woke up and I was like, what am I hearing? I swear to God, it was like a radio on. And I thought, and it was like people talking in a talk show, right? And I'm like looking and I'm like, my computer's off, the TV's off, and I got up and I walked through the house and I still could hear it, but it wasn't outside the house. And it was like a radio, like I could hear people
I've heard
talking.
I've heard it many times, and I'm always looking like, where on earth is that coming from? Nobody else in the house seems to hear it but me.
Why are we hearing that?
I have no idea. No idea. But it's like some sort of transmission or something.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's weird. It's very weird.
And they're talking to each other. It's just strange.
It's like somebody's got a TV show on in another room, but there's not a TV show on in the other room. And you can just faintly hear it. And you're like, what the?
Yeah, and it's not like going into one room and it moves to the next room. It's just everywhere at once, and there's no source of it. Now,
and when you walk outside, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So you're like, you have no idea where that's coming from.
I'm kind of like, almost to the point if they feel it's like a safe zone for them, like at your place too, like it's a safe zone and they're interdimensionally maybe talking. I don't know, but that's really it's always at 1:30, and it's like I didn't take
it. Sometimes I will hear it in the daytime.
Oh.
And I will walk around my house like, what's going on? Who's left something on? I think one of the kids left a tablet on or a phone on somewhere. I'm looking everywhere and there's nothing.
Yeah, basically in my phone, I turn the volume off on my phone at night. It's plugged in and it'll vibrate if it's somebody keeps calling, but I shut it off. And the phone, it wasn't the phone. That was just strange. But yeah, energy is a lot. You have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of, oh, I got hiccups again, what you're putting out there. And that was brought to my mind today. I actually posted the Spirit Walkers, a good group of them, because John DeBoer, he's in our group. He's an amazing musician. He plays the flute. He's written books and done all kinds of stuff. And he actually did. I was kind of surprised because a lot of people, like when I put my paintings up the other day in like a slideshow, because somebody asked me about it, they were like, "We didn't know you painted." I go, "Yeah, I've shown in Chicago."
But how do they not know you paint?
I don't know. So I put the Spirit Walkers out, and that's what made me click with the energy, because when I work with them and I create them, I have to be in that frame of mind that I can just let whoever in to do it, because you can't, I can't create them. If I want to create, like say I go in and say, okay, I want to make a bear. It's like, no, you're not going to make a bear. It's like, no, you're not going to make a bear. Why are you trying to make a bear? And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, whatever. And then whatever comes out. And I was actually quite amazed at, I don't even remember half of them I made, because once I finish a project, it's gone. It's not for me.
Yep.
So
done with it. Moving on.
But they all have their own energy. So they have actually different energy. And I know your painting, I have your painting in the front room, and it has a certain energy on it, So I almost want to say we put that in the paint. Like
your painting that I've got, the one of the raven.
Fire in the Sky.
Right now it's laying down on top of my bookcase because it keeps hitting people in the head.
Fire in the Sky.
I don't know how many times it's done that. It hit Robert in the head the last time, and he's like, "I'm laying this down for now." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you can lay it down for this now."
But they do. They have energy in them, and
I'm like, "You weren't supposed to be over there getting into stuff. That's why."
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Okay, so what was the other thing? There was something else that you were talking about, smudging.
Smudging, if we're going to do prayer ties, but before we move on to prayer ties, smudging, make sure if you're smudging your house or your car, if you're smudging something enclosed, that you open a door or a window because otherwise that energy is just bouncing around from wall to wall and has nowhere to go. You want to open the door. You want to start from the back of the house and move it forward out that window or that door. If you're downstairs, I have a basement with no windows or doors, and you want to push it up and then out. Upstairs, you're going to push it down and out, whichever way you need to do it. But make sure you open a window or door.
Good Lord, don't salt the doors and windows before you do it.
Yeah, no, don't do that either. Don't oil them or salt them. Some people will put the olive oil around their doors to help. And don't do that either right before you do it. They need to get out.
I just kind of laugh because I smudge quite a bit, and like people that know me, even like Tay and Dave, when they come in, Tay's favorite thing is, oh my God, it smells so good because you smudged, right? Because they've got all this ooky energy from work. And, she works in VW with law, clients that have law issues or judgments against VW. And
Yeah.
like she's aggravated all the time, right? And Dave, he's up on roofs and he's a supervisor roofer for commercial building. And he's all, so when they come in, it's like stepping into
nice, calm energy.
And we've talked about it before. Whatever you guys can utilize as smudge, like I use white sage, lavender, and tobacco. Holly uses
Lavender, rosemary, sweetgrass, cedar, tobacco. My favorite is the cherry tobacco. I was talking to Ruth about the other day because that was what my dad used to put in his pop, and I love the smell of it. So I'll use cherry tobacco. And of course, you've got your sage if you need to, and Palo Santo if you need to. I burn a lot of Palo Santo.
Yeah, I use Palo Santo, and I have it in.
I use so much of this.
I have it in there. It's ground down, but they make bricks out of it. And what I do is I take a brick and I crumble it into what I'm going to use. The other thing, if you're saging, make sure the vessel that you're using to burn stuff with, when you're done with that, you dump that down into water. So if you're like me, I just go out front. You can wash it down the toilet water because you want to get rid of it. And only thing you can do is, like, if you have a shell, you're supposed to clean that with water as well, just to rinse it. You don't have to scrub it, but you have to rinse it so that it takes away all that energy that it was collecting and helping you get rid of to dissipate. That's a big do, because if you leave it in the bowl and you go in and you light it for some other intention, it's picking up the previous intention, if that makes sense. Another thing, and I've talked about this quite a bit, is candles. You can use candles for various different things. Now, this candle here is Do You, and it's the moon. And these are from Storm Sestavani. I love him. He calls me Auntie Bear. I call him my nephew. He's amazing. And I asked him to post in groups. So he posted his .com or his shop in there. These are the only candles that me personally I get, because I know where they come from, and they come from a very good place of being, if that makes sense. And it took a lot for him to, the different ingredients that go into each candle, they're all different and they're all for specific purposes. So you want to make sure that even if you don't get them from him, you want to make sure where you're getting your candles from, and you know how they're going to burn, because they can do different things.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing you need to look at when you're buying homemade things. Even if you're buying homemade soaps, when you're buying homemade candles from, people that craft their own thing, is making sure of check that person out, see what kind of person they are, so you kind of know somewhat what kind of energy they're putting into those things. I don't want anybody to not buy from those people, because, that's us as well. But you got to be careful who you buy from.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like we were talking last week. You have to be careful who you go to for pretty much anything in your life, whether it's a psychic or a medium, whatever you want to call, put the label on it, or even doctors. You know, a lot of times I'll see people and they get really upset because they went to this one doctor and this is all I keep telling them. And it's like, well, you have freedom of choice. Why don't you look elsewhere until something resonates with you? So that's kind of a basic life, like a life technique or life goal that you should have.
Yeah.
And make sure that these people are positive. Make sure these people are who they're saying they are. And you know what? I'll say this again. I'll say this every time I'm on. Mediums, and I mean, some of these people that are on television are amazing. You know, I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But I also don't want to go somewhere where I want to pay one of them $1,000 for a half hour. That's insane. If you have that money to blow, feel free. And again, I'm not taking away from any of them, but then I look on the flip side, okay? And like I said, I went to that class to check out Cindy Kaza and how she taught, right? Well, she's going to have another reading with one of her best friends, Natalie, who's also a reader, and it's going to be on a Zoom line. And I actually posted it on my page on Facebook. She's charging $35 to go in for a Zoom meeting for a read from both of these wonderful, amazing mediums. And I know both of them, and they're true to who they are. They're very real, right? And they're going to take all the proceeds and give it to a friend of theirs or a client of theirs that has cancer, who's at a really bad place. You know, that to me is a good person to go to. Right. That to me tells me who these women are as their character is. That's what you want to look for. You want to look for people that resonate for you and have good intent. And right. Again, $500 to $1,000 a half hour, I'm sorry. To me, it's not. And then another one, there is another gal that I watch. She's actually down in Tennessee by you, and I can't remember her name right now, but she works with the angels, and she's amazing as well. I went to a class with her about 5 months ago. It was in a Zoom, right? And she was doing reads, and it cost $40. She was there for 2 hours doing reads for $40. I mean, and she's good, but her heart's in the right place. So people, you have to make sure where you're going and what you're doing and the stuff you're doing resonates well with you.
Yep.
Okay. Your turn. Sorry. Gonna jump off of that.
No. Now on to prayer ties. Ruth is the one that requested these, and she's not even in here. She's going to get a good bashing later.
All right, you tell them. All right, you tell them. I already sent her a note.
Yeah, I'm going to get her. I'll call her up. I called her the other day and gave her a good talking to. But yeah, she wants to know more about prayer ties. Go ahead, Bear.
Oh, and of course, I didn't bring one in. I didn't even think about
I don't have any here in the office.
Yeah, well, we're good. So anyway, well, I'll show you with this cloth, okay?
Yeah, that's good. There you go.
A brightly
I'm
colored
looking
cloth.
Around my desk. I have Post-it notes, and that's about it. I have a pen.
Brightly piece of brightly colored cloth. Okay, this is actually was a bandana I picked up, and what you do is you cut it into, I want to say, a 4-inch square, a 3 to 4 inch square, and so it's all four sides. You cut it out, and then I put in, traditionally they put tobacco in them, but what I've done is I feel I've amped it for me, is I put a little bit of lavender, I put the sage in there, and I put the tobacco in there.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yep.
Yep. And then what you do with them is you fold each corner in, right? And then you squinch it so it looks like that on the top. Okay, and you get white cotton thread. Now, not thread, string. You can get it like kite string works really good. It's like, I don't know, a buck a roll, and you wrap it around. I always wrap it around 3 times. and I forget why I do that. It was because of
Well, for me, threes are all about mind, body, spirit balance.
okay. That I trying to think. It's been so long since they taught me because I just don't think about it anymore. So then you tie it and you tie it off after you go around the three and you cut it so you've got a string that you can attach it to. Now I've used them for prayers, wants, needs, that type of a thing. And you place them, those I place out on the trees.
Yeah.
I've also used them for protection where I'll throw them in the four corners of my home or the four corners of my property.
Yep.
And it's protection. And what they're used for is the calling of
Spirit.
the divine creator God and
Yep.
spirit land to come in, our ancestors, to protect us and assist us. And and actually up until 2 years ago, the ones from 2015 where everybody came to the house and made them, they finally came off. So they lasted like 5-6 years, and then they disintegrate and they're degradable outside and they don't harm the ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good if you use a natural or cotton or linen cloth and the cotton string as well. And all the contents, of course, are biodegradable. And so they're all going to just go back into the earth. But you can hang them in your house if you don't want to hang them outside in a tree. You can hang them wherever you want. Hang them on your porch railing if you want to, wherever you want to put them. But they are to communicate with spirit and send prayers and requests into the spirit world.
It's also to say thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of people, not you, but a lot of people, when they look at us, is kind of like, why are you doing? It goes back it's a tribal tradition in the North American tribes to do these. And
the tobacco, whatever we put inside, that is a gift to spirit. That is what we're giving them in order to say thank you for listening, for being there, for hearing.
They're went in as quick as it went out, or out as quick as it went in.
It went the same place your pan did.
Oh, shush. Shush. Oh, the traditional way of when they first start making them, the way I was taught, is you put 7 of them together. So you make one, you wrap it, and the long end is still attached to the spool of cotton rope or string, I should say.
Yep.
And you put another one on there and another one. And 7 is for the 7 directions, north, south, east, west, above, below, and within. And that's the traditional way of making them. But then there's also, like I said, over the years, there's been shifts because you can put them up. If somebody passes, a friend, family, whatever, you can make those and put them up. And that's to say thank you and wish them on a good journey into the other side as they transition. So there's many, many reasons for them. Shush up, Ruth.
Go to the water and sing to the fairies.
No, I can't sing. That'll scare everything away.
It don't matter. They want to hear it.
Ruth was here when we made the prayer tides, and I know she'll remember, and Patty was here too. You remember Patty?
I was just thinking about her the other day.
It was her birthday yesterday. I forgot.
Does she still live up there?
Yeah, no, and I hear she moved back home to Washington State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she went back to the family, and she took Magic because she picked up one of my cats while she was living here. We moved out of the big house. Too many cats. He drove me insane, and he had an initial bond with her right away. So Taylor was here. It was before she was still in high school. And Patty goes, "Oh, he's so cute. I miss my cat." Both of Taylor and I said at the same time, "You take him." And she goes, "Really?" No, he's like, "No, take him. Take him. Please take him."
Take
she
the
only
cat.
lived like 4 blocks from me, right? So while we're trying to convince her, Taylor runs into the outside, into the shed, and grabs a cat carrier and comes in. Here, I'll even load him for you. So he actually traveled with her back to Washington. He was with her up here. He passed last year. So
Oh,
he was an old boy. I think he was around 16, 17 years old. So yeah,
yeah,
no, he moved out there. But yeah, all these people, we make prayer ties, and that's just an awesome way of saying thank you. It's a mindful way to ask for assistance on
right.
whether it's manifesting our goals, or we need protection, or whatever. I
Whatever it
will
may be.
say this, and you can back me up on this or not. That's your free choice. When you smudge your house, it may get rid of the ookie, but it's also an open door for positives and good things to come in. So usually the way I look at it is like a bingo room, like old bingo halls, right? Where,
Yeah,
people go to play bingo at the VFW or whatever, and you remember way back in the 80s, it was always smoke filled, and everybody sitting with their ashtrays and, it's, ugh. So what I look at is my house gets to that point because I can feel that negative energy. So I shush all of them out of there. And all the people that are remaining are the non-smokers and just want to be there having a good time. And they're all like, yay! So I
yeah,
find that the house gets ramped up and actually becomes more active in a more positive way.
in a positive way. Yeah, exactly. Because you just have that positive energy left. All the negative Nellies have gone, and it feels a lot better. It feels a lot lighter.
It I I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know if it's good or bad, because while it's better than it was, but sometimes they don't leave you alone, and that's the way I've been having issues with lately, and I really have to get bossy with them and kind of take them aside and say, "Stop!
Yep, leave me alone.
I need to sleep." You know. So yeah, just sometimes be careful what you wish for. That I'll just tell you that.
Ruth needs more smudge supplies. One thing some people used to do, and some people I think probably still do it. It goes along the same lines as the prayer ties, but instead they would write messages on ribbons
Yep.
and tie those ribbons up into the trees. And
Yep.
sometimes they would add little bits of jewelry or jewels or gemstones or whatever it may be, some little decorative little blingy little items along with those as well.
Well, it's the same. Like each kind of, I don't want to say religion, but each cultural thing has their own thing. Like, Catholics have the rosary and they have votive candles.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when my grandfather was still alive, there was a monk that was here in one of the monasteries, and he went to see him, and it wasn't a Catholic monk. I don't remember what denomination it was, but they had what they call scapulas, and they were like stamps on felt type cloth, but they were sewn onto it. And then they had like around their neck, you'd be able to wear it, kind of like a St. Christopher medal.
Yeah.
People wear religious medals all the time, sort of like that. But there's each culture has their own way of doing it, and I don't know. I just felt that when I was taught that, it should be kind of a universal thing. Because I
Yeah.
mean, you think about it. I gotta shut the door while it's still in. It's just a way to say thank you. It's a way to honor our dead, our family members that have passed, or our friends that have transitioned to the other side. It's just to say, hey, you know what? We still remember you. You're still here with us. You're still being thought of. So yeah, it's kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Also, we can also use crystals
Yeah.
to do the same, to protect the houses or your property. Now, those you obviously have to bury, or you'll have a neighborhood critter come by and grab them, because raccoons actually like shiny things, and so do
Yeah.
the ravens and crows.
Yeah.
And they will pick them up. So you need to kind of bury them, but cleanse them before you do that. And then you can, again, 4 corners of the house, 4 corners of the property. and it kind of keeps stuff out.
Yep, that adds that extra protection.
What about sweetgrass? What what have you used in the past? What have you used sweetgrass for?
Smudging. I use sage is when I need some serious smudge. That's the strongest, I think. The lighter ones are the rosemary and the lavender, the sweetgrass, the palo santo, the cedar, and the what else am I thinking? The tobacco aren't as strong and as potent to me as the sage is. The sage is like, some heavy stuff. And the others, just depending on what I feel is necessary. What I usually do though, like when I do on a regular smudge, like a quarterly smudge or whatever, then I'm going to mix all of those things together.
Well, the sage actually, it's interesting, at least what I've noticed over the years, even if you put the same amount in each time, the intensity of it will burn for what is needed.
Yeah.
Like I've had put in like, a regular amount, like, you dip it, put it in, you light it, and it burns, but same amount, same shell, light it. And when it singes your eyebrows off, whatever you're doing is like needs a big cleaning.
Yeah.
And I've done that in a few homes that I've been asked to clear and bless before when people have bought them, which I would think, you being who you are, you would do that too. And I went to this one particular house. And I have a big shell. It's a big shell. And I only put enough in there to, and it literally, I could not hold it. It got so flash hot underneath it.
Yes.
And
yes.
I lit it and I was like this, and it came up, and literally I could smell pieces of my hair get burned off and my eyebrows. And I was like, whoa. And I was doing this with it, and I literally had to set it down on the ground. On the grass, because
I've had to do that before. Not in a long time, thank goodness. But oh yeah, when I've been in some houses there was a lot of negative energy trapped in there. It gets so hot that I would have to take it outside. You have to set it somewhere where it's not going to burn through.
Well, I know that this particular home that I did, his whole family was there, like his brother, his sister-in-law, the kids.
Did it run them out? It worked.
No, they all backed up and their eyes were like big, like saucers, like, what the heck just happened? And then when it was still burning, but it got down to a point where I got something I could put on my hand. I don't remember. It was a piece of cloth, something that was thick enough that I could fold to pick it up to go. And that was just as I was entering the house. So once I got in the house, it was still actually burning. And it was like I felt all this ooky, leftover, residual type stuff. And then I saw two spirits in the house. And I gave them names, told them who they were, and I walked them out. And they did. They left. However, when I got to the end, they were all still looking at me like, what just happened? Because the people I named, one was the grandfather of the man that bought the house, and he had which I didn't know, he had just passed the month prior. He was fine. He was down in the tool room of this house, which was kind of cool. Then I had a young man who committed suicide in the house. And they had just found this out. It wasn't disclosed in their purchase agreement, but they were told later. And he was a teenager, and he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the house, making the drawers open, and he was really strong because he was agitated. He was in an agitated state. And then the other one was a grandmother to the brother. So, but it was like on his mom's side. One was on his dad's side, one was on his mom's side. And they just stood there. I didn't know this, and they go, why did it go up so high? I said, because you had a lot of activity in there. Plus they had, like I said, all this ooky stuff. And I imagine it was from the young man that had committed suicide. So yeah, if you need help doing stuff, call Holly, because she doesn't mind playing with the little things and she'll be happy to sing to them or do whatever you need if you've got that. Just give Holly a call.
Yeah, I'll sing to the fairies all day long. They love me. They're sweet.
It's only because you picked 4-leaf clovers and 5-leaf clovers for them. That's the way it is. I know it is. Yes, I do.
Loads of them. I go out and I sing to them and I have conversation with them. I talk to them and they show me where all of them are.
What about fairy gardens? Do you set up fairy gardens?
We have some things all around the property for the fairies. Yeah. My favorite, newest thing are these lights. They're little bitty round lights, and they've got different programming to twinkle or to flash all at once or to stay on or whatever. And they're on these little sticks that sway with the wind and everything. So yeah, the more we can keep adding to our fairy forest, the better.
Well, Patty used to do the fairy gardens. When she was before she came here in Washington State. And then when we came and met up with you on the powwow in South Carolina, I think it was, she was talking about them, and she went into a stopover on our way home where we stopped to meet a friend of ours that was down there. And we went into their yard, and I literally was shocked because I literally saw them. I mean, I could see the fairies. And they were so happy Patty was there, and they were so happy Kathy brought company. And I just kind of stood by the door like, oh, my God. And they did. They had little, stuff set up, like little houses and little things. And I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But I literally saw the fairies.
Yep.
It's the only time I've seen them because they felt safe. I don't play with fire. So, yeah.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're all around your house, whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah, I know.
Go sing to them. You'll get that pan back.
I think they go in and out of dimension.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've been here with not even human. I mean, they've been here since Earth began. And I feel they go through the dimensions like the dragons. Now, that's another thing that I love and I see. I'll call the dragons to eat the little fairies. I don't care. They can protect me.
Well, they're showing me a place at your place by the water, and it's like, is there a spot over on your property that is fairly close to the water that has one they're showing me like there's a tree, but there's also a little distance away from the tree is a stump that has some moss and some other stuff that's growing up. Huh?
Yeah.
That's their favorite hangout spot.
Well, you know why?
Why?
That's where the wolf's ashes went.
Aww.
That's where her daughter put them.
Yep.
And she went there and then right to the water. So they're like right by that stump, at the base of the stump and into the water.
Yep, that stump is their favorite hangout space.
That does not surprise me at all because she loves little kids and loves that wouldn't surprise me at all. Yep.
She said something to me the last time last week when we were on, but I never did get to tell you.
Do I want to know?
You've got another dog coming your way.
Oh, no, I don't. No dog.
Yeah, you do, and it's coming from her.
No,
you'll know exactly when it comes in. You will know. You do. Shake your head all you want. She's like, bet.
Oh, yeah. She likes dogs. I know I do too, but I just, no.
She loved her German Shepherds.
Yes, she did. Very, very much. Very much.
Just wait. You're going to see. It's going to be, it's not this year, but it's coming in the next couple of years.
Yep. No, I don't want
to. Keep saying no. She's laughing at you. She's like, bet.
Yeah, well, she can keep the little fairies outside and she can play with them all she wants as long as they stay outside of the house. I don't care. I still want them inside. I got enough trouble with these. I don't need another one. The fairy lights, you know what? I was actually thinking of this in spring because when the kids come up, they like to sit by the water. We actually put like chairs up there. I don't have a big space from the water. It's probably, I don't know, Ruthie, what do you think it is? Like 25 feet maybe? from the house wall to the seawall. It's not big at
Yeah.
all, but we have like chairs out there, and I actually Taylor brought up Papa Real, my birth mom's husband. He had made this before he died, and she brought that up, so that's sitting out there. And we have a couple other chairs around the fire pit, and we've had that energy out there. So you can go out there, and when Brianne comes up, Cynthia's daughter, and the kids go out there, you can feel the energy out there. It's just absolutely amazing. And the wolf loves storms.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go to that front room or stand on that front when it's coming in, and the energy is off the charts. And I can just see her dancing and yelling and doing all that stuff. So yeah, we love to watch the storms and stuff. Yeah, I don't think it is far from the house. I'm very blessed to be where I live because I'm close to town, but in the woods on the water. So it's really kind of cool. This morning I had, and because I work with totems so much, you need to stop. I had white egrets come in, and they're actually nesting very close to the seawall this year.
Yeah.
And we have the herons here, and usually they're up front, but this year they kind of swap places. Their necks are taller than a herons, which I didn't realize until they're standing right in front of the house.
Right.
And they're about 6 feet tall too when they stand up straight, but they've got a lot longer neck.
Yeah.
I mean, are they ever noisy? Noisy.
We have a ton of herons. Our house, you go down just not even maybe a quarter. I don't even know if it's a quarter of a mile there's a creek that runs along the main road that gets you to where my house is. And there's a pond area there, and the trees that are surrounding, I don't even know, probably about at least a dozen herons nest in those trees right there.
That's amazing. See, mine don't nest in the trees. They nest in because it's like a marsh out here, especially with the loss of water because we've had drought. So they're out in the high grass out in the lake, and you can just see their head. It's so funny because you'll be sitting out there and they'll sense a change, and their heads will pop up, and they're so white against the green.
I don't know about the ones. I don't know about the green herons because they're shorter, they're smaller. The ones that are nesting in our trees are those the great blue herons.
Yeah, those are the ones that I usually have out front, but they're on the far end this year, so it's really interesting. It's actually been really interesting to watch the signs of nature as we go through different issues like the droughts or the fires or the air quality too is the same too. Now I've had a doe come in 2 weeks now. I do not see her fawn. I don't know if she lost it. I do not see evidence of it because I know where they sleep or they hide, and they come in to eat and get water. They go down to the water's edge and they walk right into the water. And she has, I still don't think she's well. I can count all her ribs like standing there, and they're not usually like that. Even when they drop a fawn, they still have around their ribs, right? So we've been watching them, and it's interesting because how dry everything is. There's a lot of places that, and people don't understand it, that they're losing food source because it's so dry. The fields are dry, the woods are tinder dry, and so it drives them in or to different places of habitat so that they can survive. So those are all things, but I like it. I love it here.
Last year for us was super dry, but this year it's a very wet year this year, which I am not complaining. It's way better than having that dry year. We had hardly any rain, none. I mean, the majority of the whole year, not just the summer, but the whole year was horrible. Everything was crispy and breaking apart. It was terrible. Yeah, but we also have the eagles that nest right down the road as well.
Yeah, we have those. They come back every year, and their young come back every year because it's where they were born. So they're out all around this lake and out my house. Last year, they would drop on my shed or drop on the front of the house all the time. This year, they're in same area, but different spots. So I don't get to see them a whole lot. But we had no winter. It was cold, but no snow. And
We had one snow, and that was it. And it was actually like early, well, at the end of last year. We didn't have anything in this year at the beginning of the year. I think the snow was in December.
Yeah, and this is what people really have to watch about the ecosystem, because I kind of like want to. Sometimes when I go into town, when the kids are here and they drive through town, I see people with sprinklers on their lawns, and I'm thinking, like, really, we're in a drought. Really, you're gonna water your grass? So does that mean you don't want to drink water or use water in the house? So we all have to be mindful of our areas and where we live.
Yeah, well, it drives me crazy. We've had such a rainy year. I don't know that we've had hardly any weeks at all where it hasn't rained, and you still have people watering their lawns.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What are you wasting the water for? We're getting plenty of rain.
So we go out. If you need rain, go outside, do a rain dance. It works.
It does work. I've done it. I've done it a few times.
Windwalker is a dear friend of mine. I consider her sister. You've met her when she's been on with the radio and the radio show, and that's what she does. She goes around the country. She's supposed to be coming in Michigan really soon, I think next month sometime. And that's what she does. She drums and teaches people about the ecosystem and water.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing, so sometimes we got to pray to that stuff, or just, even if you don't pray, put that thought out there to the universe. And there's a lot of ways you can do to protect, to cleanse, to rejoice.
Around here, I don't know about for your state, but for us, I was very surprised and happily surprised. They had like no-mow April and May, so that they encouraged people to let their lawns grow for the bees at the early spring, which I was like, yeah.
I didn't cut mine till the third week in June, because we were dry, but it needed to go up. And the clover that naturally comes up in grass, the bees need that. So do the butterflies, actually. So,
and we've been, we don't have a lot of grassy areas because we are in the woods. But my grassy areas, we have gotten rid of that, and we have planted clover instead, because it's low maintenance. You don't even have to mow it.
Yeah, it is. And that's actually, I have a spot at my house that I took where I had the stands, like planter stands, so I didn't have to bend, and I put vegetables and flowers in there. Well, then somebody came and bought the property next to us, and they told us we had to move them. It was like an inch on their property. So I just said to David, when him and Tay were up, I said, just flip them. He said, what? I said, just flip them. He goes, why, Mom? I go, I want you to flip them and then cut their legs off. And I put them up by the mailbox, and that's where the flowers will go in there, because they're big boxes.
Yeah.
But what I did with the dirt is I threw wild flower seed in there, and then I just let the grass come up in it, and the deer bring their babies, and the rabbits are in there, and they sleep in there. So they sleep and rest in there, and it's really tall. And the guy that comes to cut the grass says, are you sure you don't want me? I go, no, I told you why. He goes, oh yeah, that's right. He goes, that's kind of cool. I said, yeah, because we're taking away from the creatures of the world what they need to survive, And I always find it interesting when people I know from downstate say, oh my God, something came into my area and ate all my rose bushes and my flowers out front. Then we caught it, and it was a dang deer. Like, what the heck? And I'm like, yeah, what the heck? We've all cleared all their areas where they grew up or they've lived or gone back to reproduce every year.
Yeah.
We've taken that away from them. You know how blessed you are to even see them?
Yeah.
In that area? Like, seriously. So people, you have to be conscious of that. You need to be, we need to. And I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but one of my teachings from my elders, and this goes way back because I'm old, is for the next 7 generations. So if we cut a tree down, you plant enough for the next 7 generations. I mean, they don't have to be full-grown trees. They can be little, but you need to replant. Same thing. You take habitat away, you have to make habitat to help them so that they can still continue on. So maybe for the next 7 generations.
This spring, what I did with my grandsons is we made seed bombs. So I ordered this big bag of wildflower seeds, and we mushed up, paper and everything, and put the seeds in there and made little balls of seed bombs, and then they got to throw them out all over the place so we could have more wildflowers growing.
That's what more of us needs to do. That's kind of like more of what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm imagining, I know you're not quite my age yet, but I was sitting the other day and I have to keep reminding myself, my daughter's going to be 30 this year. She's not a kid anymore. She hasn't been a kid.
Oh, you're getting old.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting really old. I earned every gray hair. But she's going to be 30. So I got to remember that, she's not a kid. She's an adult, and she's adulting very well, just like your kids are, right? And I look and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, I'm in the last chapters of my life. I'm not starting them. So I want to make everything count for what we leave behind. So, and you want to teach people about what it is they need to do to better their mind, body, and spirit. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're not Native American, you could be Polish, you could be anything. If you want to do prayer ties, do prayer ties. Smudge. Druids did it. They still do. People who do witchcraft still do. And witchcraft is not bad unless it's black magic and white magic. There's a lot of people that do spells and stuff for witchcraft. But what do they call it? White witches or something like that? I don't remember. And I mean, so there's all different, and everything is only a different denomination in that culture. You can have different religions. They all kind of have the same stuff going on. And you have to learn to be more accepting of that and add to it. So we add, each of us add our own flair to it. And I know you do all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh, heck yeah. Loads.
Oh, it's crazy. Well, guys, been great talking here with Holly as usual. I hope you guys, Ruth, you're getting up there too, Chicky Poo. She goes, getting old. Yeah,
Michaela turned 28 this year. Stacy and Tracy will be 33 at the end of the year.
How does it? I don't even know how that happens. I just look and I'm like, wow. Yeah, I guess I am that old, I don't feel it up here.
You don't have any grandkids yet. I've got 6.
I really, honest to God, don't know if I'll ever have grandchildren. Taylor's like, there's enough children that need to be adopted. I don't know that I want to have a baby. She says, although I would like to have one, David and I would like to have one. But the thing that goes with that when she tells me that is, but Mom, you're going to have to move and come down and take care of the baby so I can go back to work. And I'm like, what? Huh? Wait, did I do that right? Well, Grandma did it for you. I said, yeah, because Grandpa Geldof passed and the doctor said she needed something to do. So I said, I'll help you, but I'm not moving down there. So our kids have, have you gotten that yet where it's kind of switched where the kids are trying to be the parents? Yeah. That's a lot of fun too. That's really fun.
Yeah.
When they talk to
you, like, don't talk to me that way.
I'm not your buddy. I'm not your child.
No. I'm still your mom. Yep. I think I know a little bit better.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we will see you next week. Same place, same time. And have a blessed week, everybody. And see you all. Bye.